Hey, how's it going YouTube? I'm Landon Dowlatsingh and welcome back to another Most Amazing Top 10 video. Right now, there are tens of thousands of innocent people behind bars. Thousands of people are just kids and teenagers. It just seems like such a corrupt system if so many people are serving decades in prisons for crimes they didn't commit. This is why I believe this saying. You can say you will never in your lifetime commit a crime, but you can never say you will never be framed or convicted of a crime. Okay, so let's get right into this list. This is the top 10 innocent kids sentenced to life in prison, part 2. If you guys want part 1, if you've missed it, you guys can click right over here. But let's get started on this one. In at number 10, we have DeMarlo Berry, who has been in prison for the past 22 years. Well, now for the first time, he has proven his innocence, but it was a long and hard fight. DeMarlo was convicted of murdering someone in the Carl's Jr. parking lot. The trial was lengthy, and after 22 years, it was proven that a government witness lied to the jury that led them to convict him to life in prison. I couldn't imagine this guy's mindset, being in prison for over 2 decades for doing nothing wrong. I would go insane. Moving into number 9, we have a Chicago man, Patrick Prince, who was found innocent after spending 26 years in prison. Is this real life right now? I'm 27. I couldn't imagine spending my whole life in prison. He was just 19 years old back in 1991 when he was convicted of murder. Patrick actually confessed to this murder, but when the Innocence Project stepped into this case, it was proven that he was physically and verbally abused until he falsely confessed into murdering someone. It was a corrupt detective and police officer that caused Patrick to serve almost 3 decades behind bars while an innocent person enjoyed, his morning coffees thinking about murdering again. Because why not? He got away with it this time, so he can just continue getting away with it. Really messed up. A kid who served 42 years in prison. I just can't believe this. This was before he proved his innocence, and he's up next at number 8. This right here is Juneal Pratt, who was convicted of rape back in 1975. During trial, the jury felt like there wasn't enough evidence to convict this guy, but he was sentenced with a back-to-back sentence of a total of 90 years in prison. This is just inhumane. I do believe in reform and a second chance if deemed no longer a threat to society. I'm not saying they can reform in a year. It takes time. 10 years, 15 years. I think the longest sentence should be maybe 25 years with a chance of parole. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Well, as soon as technology came around and there was DNA tests, it was easily proven that Juneal was indeed the wrong guy. Moving on, number 7, John Horton. He has just been exonerated from prison after spending 23 years behind bars as an innocent person. When John was 17 years old, he was convicted of murder at a local McDonald's. After a 10-hour interrogation, he actually confessed to the murder because he simply broke down. There's actually a documentary showing thousands of people confessing to murders they actually didn't commit because they couldn't handle the interrogation. They break down and just tell the interrogator what they want to hear so they can stop. Well, this is what happened in this case. It took 23 years to prove this kid was innocent. Well, now he's a man. He didn't kill anyone. It was a very tragic story. Number 6, we have a case that is still ongoing today and has been in the news lately. This right here is 58-year-old Roy Watford, who says he is innocent of the crime that they say he committed 40 years ago. Roy was convicted of a rape and he had the decision to plead guilty to try to take a lesser sentence. So during the trial, he pleaded guilty to try to get that lesser sentence because it was either that or he's going away for just life. There was no chance of him going as a free person at this time. So during the trial, he pleaded guilty, but he was still given a very harsh sentence. Roy was also diagnosed with an intellectual disability, so he really wasn't able to understand what was happening. So now he wants a retrial and to be tested with DNA because he claims he didn't even get in contact with the person that they claimed he raped, and they have the wrong person. 17 years old at the time, Charles Lamont Lewis has been wrongfully incarcerated for 41 years for a crime he did not commit, and he comes in at number 5. Charles was sentenced to life without parole for killing an off-duty police officer back in 1976. This is a really crazy story, but it took 41 years to uncover the truth. So this took place in Detroit, and the police officer's partner and a number of other eyewitnesses identified the real killer at the scene, but the man was released by a corrupt Detroit police sergeant who later framed Charles Lewis for the murder. He was probably given a ton of money, so it it took over 40 years to prove that. It's hard to go against a police sergeant who is supposed to be a very trusted individual who is supposed to fight on the right side of the law. I feel really bad for this guy who lost his whole life because of this sergeant, and I bet he was awarded just like 10 grand. Not saying any amount of money would make this justifiable, but I think he should sue Detroit for everything that they have done. And for that police sergeant, he's probably long dead by now, and there's no consequences for him. 16-year-old Giovanni Reid comes up next at number 4. Giovanni has been innocent for over 25 years. He was serving a juvenile life without parole sentence for a 1991 robbery and shooting of a pre-med student. Giovanni was given a plea deal and he accepted it. It was a 25-year life sentence, which is so crazy he has to admit to committing a crime just so he doesn't get the death penalty in this situation. So he just took the plea deal, but later he spoke out about his story, about how he was innocent. There was a huge controversy that surrounded this case due to a lot of cover-ups that was discovered later on in this case. There is a documentary about Giovanni because his story is very remarkable, but for all the wrong reasons. Next up, number 3, we have Shareef Cousin, who was an African-American born in New Orleans. He was wrongfully convicted of first-degree murder and he was sentenced to death as a juvenile. He was just 17 years old at the time and he became the youngest condemned convict to be put on death row in Louisiana and one of the youngest in the United States. Shareef was convicted almost solely on one eyewitness. There was no physical evidence that linked this kid to this crime. Shareef was almost killed by the death penalty for this murder, but it was during his case that a small detail was discovered. Okay, so listen to this, get this. The eyewitness couldn't have seen the shooter of this murder because she needs glasses, and during the time of questioning of the scene by the police, she was not wearing glasses, and she's like, she really needs them. Also, another witness confessed that he was coerced into falsely implicating this teenager. The DA quickly dropped this case and the kid was free to go. Terrance Lewis has lived such a crazy life, so let's talk about him at number 2. Terrance was 17 years old when he was convicted of murder and he was sent to life in prison for second-degree murder. This took place in Philadelphia and this case has gone to many courts, and one judge actually said he believes Terrance to be innocent from all of the evidence that was presented in front of him, but it's up to the jury to decide the fate of Terrance. Terrance has been in jail since 1996 keeping his innocence. While lawyers and prosecutors looked into this case, they found very little evidence against this kid, and there was a very credible witness that said Terrance wasn't even at the location of the murder, but for some reason this kid is still left in prison. There has been a legal team that took on this case as a pro bono, meaning no one was paid for the legal fees. They just wanted to do it for free because they believed in this guy. They did this because after looking into the case, they couldn't believe that this kid is still in prison. And finally, at number 1, we have Sharun Thomas, who has just been released after spending 24 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. He was accused of murder back in 1990 when he was a teenager. The legal process for many of these cases can take years to complete. For this guy, it took 24 years to prove he didn't kill anyone. I think it's just ridiculous. So for 24 years, an innocent person was in prison for life while the murderer was living his life. Something is for sure wrong with the justice system after going over this whole list with you guys. Well, there you guys have it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next video.